Hello, welcome to Microfiche Microphone. I'm Micah, and on this channel we look at microfiche from the past, old newspaper articles in the public domain. We look at them with our modern eyes, our modern perspective, and see what we can learn from them. On this microfiche time capsule, we are looking at the Ladies' Home Journal from June 1884. And June, as we know, is the month where most people get married. The most amount of people get married, than any other month. So there is an article about that. It is called For Girls About to Marry. I thought that might be fun to look at, see if it has any significance. But let's see if we agree with the advice given then compared to today. I don't know what the advice is yet. I have not yet read it, but we will find out together. So, for girls about to marry. Never marry a man who has only his love for you to recommend him. It is very fascinating, but it does not make the man. If he is not otherwise what he should be, you will never be happy. The most perfect man who did not love you should never be your husband. Ooh. Okay, hang on. I'm going to pause here. I usually try to read it through and then comment, but I feel like this has several snippets of advice, so let's look at them one at a time. Never marry a man who has only his love for you to recommend him. So I say he loves you, but he has nothing else. He has no job, he has no house, he has no kind of stability. I think that's what they're looking at in this case. I can definitely understand why that was the case then. Do we agree with it today? I'd like to know your opinion on this. I personally don't know what my opinion is. Let me just put it that way. On the one hand, I would like to think that love is enough, but on the other, if you were the one providing for him, is that how you want to live? Because you have to accept the possibility that that's not going to change in the future. So if you are getting married in the hopes of something changing, then it may or may not. You can't know what the future brings. So that's my opinion on that one. It depends on what you want as the woman about to get married, yeah? It is very fascinating, but it does not make the man. Fascinating that he loves you doesn't make the man. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, yeah, you should definitely have more than one hobby in your life. Your partner should not be the only thing that you do. But, I don't know, it's an interesting thing to say. If he is not otherwise what he should be, you will never be happy. So I think this is continuing a thought of what they were saying before, that you will never be happy if he is still unemployed, and still, not looking to improve himself, still doesn't have a place to live in the future, then you won't be happy with that either. Once again, it all depends. Is the woman willing to support him? If she is, then maybe she will be happy. I don't know. But though marriage without love is terrible, love only will not do. Oh, I just skipped one, sorry. The most perfect man who did not love you should never be your husband. I do agree with that. If there isn't love at all, then there should be no marriage. Yeah, even if it looks good on paper, so to speak. But though marriage without love is terrible, love only will not do. Marriage without love is terrible, yeah. But love only will not do. I think that is true to a certain extent. If the man is dishonorable to other men, or mean, or given to any vice, the time will come when you will either loathe him or sink to his level. I actually 100% agree with that. Pay attention to the way they treat other people that aren't you. Yeah? Because the kind of person they're describing is kind of a narcissist, if they're mean or dishonorable to other men, or mean, or given to any vice, yeah, like an alcoholic or something like that, the time will come when you will either loathe him or sink to his level. Well, that is a possibility, yeah. definitely a possibility. So either you'll join him and become like him, or you will hate him. Yeah, that's probably true. It's probably true. It is hard to remember amidst kisses that there is anything else in the world to be done or thought of but love-making. But the days of life are many, and the husband must be a guide to be trusted, a companion, a friend, as well as a lover. I may have an unpopular opinion on this, but I completely agree with this. If the days of life are many and the husband must be a guide to be trusted, I think the woman as well. If you, either party has any sort of major vice, like if they're alcoholic or a drug user, for example, or, serial adulterer, you're not going to be happy together. Yeah, and you can't be trusted to guide each other. And a companion, a friend, as well as a lover. I completely believe that. Like, all three of those roles should be both of those people. Many a girl has married a man whom she knew to be anything but good because he loved her so, and the flame has died on the hearthstone of home before long, and beside it there has been sitting one she could never hope would lead her heavenward, but who, if she followed him as a wife should, would guide her steps to perdition. Marriage is a solemn thing, a choice for life. Be careful in the choosing. Interesting. So they're saying that if the husband is a bad person, then he will basically lead you into becoming a bad person too. That you will be tainted by association in a way. Marriage is a solemn thing, a choice for life. Be careful in the choosing. I very much appreciate this advice, and I think that it's very relevant for every time ever. I'm not going to share a personal experience. It's still very fresh. So I'm just going to let that be for now. But just know that I'm in the process of changing my marital status. And I think this is very, very good advice in general. And I know from personal experience how difficult it is to be in a relationship that is not healthy. And I think that this advice is trying to get women to stop and think and say, okay, am I really ready for this? Is this really a good idea? Before you decide to marry. Like, just be careful. Be careful. Take your time. Yeah? Really think about it. And don't rush into things. I think that's all very good advice. So there are also different kinds of disorders that are around that they didn't necessarily had words for back then. They definitely want to watch out for things that you might have difficulties dealing with. And like the key word today would be narcissism. But that's not the word they used then. Well, they might have, but not to the extent we use it today. And just to remember that, especially back then when it was much more difficult to obtain a divorce, that it is very important to watch out for signs of narcissism, for example, or other kinds of disorders, alcoholism, things like that, that somebody might be trying to hide from you initially, and that it's very important for you to express how you feel about it. And decide for yourself, are you willing to accept this or not? Because you cannot expect that things will just get better in the future. Look at it the way it is now. Are you happy with the way it is now? Do you see warning signs that it might get worse? Because you have to expect that your husband or wife is at the point at the moment where they're not going to get better. Your relationship isn't going to be better than it is now. It might be different, but assume that it won't be better in the future. At least it could be just as good. And some people do say it gets better, but if it doesn't, because you can't assume that, if it doesn't get better, are you happy with what you have now? Are you okay with that? So that's kind of like the big takeaway I've been getting from some so like informative YouTube videos about narcissism, where it talks about, should I stay or should I go? It's not always possible to get away, and back then even less so than today. So I'm not going to tell anyone that they should get out of their relationship if they are in one and they're unhappy. But if you are married to a narcissist, then you just have to ask yourself, can I live with things the way they are now? Because they probably won't get better. Anyways, that's, sorry, I've just taken that down a little bit, but if you are looking to get married soon, then I would just say, just make sure that the way things are in such a way that you can be happy with it forever. If things continue the way they are, not assuming that they're going to get better and everything's gonna, be perfect and you're gonna live happily ever after. And keep in mind that people do change over time, and hoping that you might grow together and instead of apart. That's what I wish for anyone getting married now. So that is my wish for you, and I hope that things will continue to be at least as good as they are now. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that Microfiche time capsule. It's a little interesting, some 1884 advice from, 19th century advice from the Ladies' Home Journal. I really am enjoying the Ladies' Home Journal. I hope you are too. I'm going to continue looking for new articles. If there's anything that you would like me to take a look at, or any subject you would like to talk about, since there's a lot about parenting, I just thought I'm glad to see this one, which was more about weddings and marriage and less about parenting. So it doesn't always have to be about parenting, but yeah, if there's something specific you would like to listen to, learn about, then please send me a message in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next video.